Hello, everybody. My name is Sean, and I welcome you back. It's not working on a lamp. I'm actually doing something a little different than normal. I actually wanted to put a video out where I talk about failures. Actually, I just posted on my Instagram a recent failure, at least what I regard a failure, but it's also a success, and that's something I want to talk about. And I want to talk about it for you, the viewer, and myself, so that my future self can look back and go, man, he had amazing hair. I wish I had that much hair again. And yeah, well, just a bit of encouragement when doing art. And it's something I've encountered with friends, and I know from personal experience it is horribly devastating when a project you work on doesn't come through, when you're super excited about it and it just fails. And that sucks. And trust me, I've had my share of failures this year. In fact, in the last few months, I've shown you guys some of my failures. Remember the tentacle egg I was making for Halloween and how it utterly failed because the shell just shattered off? And I was left with these like casts of the egg and I didn't know what to do with them. And I kind of gave up and was almost discouraged and didn't know what to do. This was a failure, but I kept trying. And then something you guys didn't see, I posted on my Instagram, but I haven't talked about it in the YouTube channel because it kind of been quiet. Sorry, I kind of burnt myself out over Christmas. I was making a Christmas gift for a very dear friend of mine, Penny, and for her I wanted to make something that was her. And I had this amazing idea. I'd spent a couple weeks sketching things out every day, trying to figure out the logistics of how to go step by step. As a note, I apologize for the water sounds. That's the filter. I got a new one. It's great, but it's loud. I digress. So what I had decided on was to do something that would be amazing for her. I would do one of my eggs. And when I did the eggs, again, I ran into the issue where the shell shattered off and made these beautiful eggs, but you can see there's still a bit attached here, but the majority of the shell did not adhere to the surface of the resin and just shattered off. And so I actually made 2 eggs. This is the second one. The first one was a little bigger. But despite being a failure, the thing I want to talk about and I want to remind myself and you about is failure is an end state. Failure is a finished product. Failure is when you cross the finish line. And if you've never crossed the finish line, or the finish line is way out there somewhere, you, my friend, have not failed. You have merely taken a setback. You have placed a step forward in achieving your goal. And sometimes you may have an idea that this is your goal, but the whole time your goal was something else. And that happens. I mean, I was devastated that this egg didn't turn out because I had this whole thing planned out in my head and how I would carve the shell. But then I realized, and hopefully I'm doing this right and editing the finished product up there, and you'll see how beautiful it is. It turned out better because I failed. And I thought that was awesome. And I think that is an important thing to remember, that is, maybe at that moment you feel like a failure, but you have to realize, take what you can from it, learn, figure out how you can improve. My most recent thing on Instagram that I posted was this rose I decided to suspend in resin, just like Beauty and the Beast, with a petal falling and petals on the ground. And I learned lots making this that I can apply to future endeavors. I learned, 1, I probably need a vacuum chamber to get all the air out. 2, that when I make the roses, I forgot they're hollow, so there'd be all this air stored in it, so when I was setting it in the resin, that air would escape into the resin, causing the bubbles. I realized also I shouldn't coat the flower in, I covered it in a lacquer to help prevent discoloration because I wanted this bright red color. But in the end, it created air pockets underneath where it had soaked into the paper, and the air got between the lacquer and the paper. And so this is a beautiful proof of concept, and I love it. But I've learned so much, and that's the important thing to do, is to keep taking from each thing you do something you've learned. And that is something I have to remind myself, that even though I may be horribly upset at this time, and I may feel like a failure, I didn't fail. I just I can take something from it. I've learned something, and that in and of itself is a success. So if anybody out there is ever feeling discouraged by something you're making and you can't figure it out, don't worry. It's okay. We all get there. And I mean, maybe, and this is another good example. A friend of mine, another good friend of mine, lives up in Toronto. She is a beautiful graphic designer, does amazing work. And she had shown me a pattern and a work she was creating, and it was this beautiful combinations of blues and purples and blacks and whites. And it was such a beautiful pattern, but it wasn't doing anything. Like when you looked at it, you're like, okay, that's a thing. And she was trying to make it into something, but it wasn't working. And sometimes you need the extra. I know it's, at least for me, I know it's very personal, it's very private to share the work that you do, because you're always afraid of judgment. But sometimes you need that outside, a critical outside third person to help you. And in her case, it was a simple matter of she needed somebody to look at it. And I as hard as it was to say to her, I said, like, no, you can't salvage this. You're not going to make it anything. But maybe you can salvage it, actually. And there were sections of it where you could look at the patterns and the details she had created that were beautiful. But as a whole, they didn't quite fit together. But individually, they were gorgeous works. And so she's going to use that for other projects. She's going to maintain those patterns and use them for other things. And I think that is an awesome idea. And sometimes, like the case of the egg, for me, it was a case of, hey, you know what? That's why I haven't thrown this out yet. It's been around since October, and I'm going to do something with it. I don't know what that is, but it'll come to me. And just like these, actually this container for the rose, I had this for months. Somebody gave this to me. I don't know who. But I didn't know what to do with it. And then I figured it out. And sometimes that's all you need is just some time. So hang on to the failures. Hang on to them. Look at them. Embrace them. And try and figure out what they really are. Because maybe they weren't, the whatever you were going for. Maybe they weren't this amazing model of a dragon you wanted to have roaring up to life and inspiring people with awe. Maybe of that dragon, maybe the body looked a little weird. Maybe the hands were too small. Maybe the proportions for the body to the head were off, and you're not happy with it. But that head was great. So maybe that head could be a cast for a door knocker. As weird as that may be, and it may make you laugh, a door knocker. Like maybe it's like a head that could be mounted on. That'd be actually really cool. And then, yeah, I don't know, whatever. But that's the important thing is don't give up on your failures. Take what you can from them and apply them to what you're going to do next. Because you're always evolving and you can't fail till you're dead. And even then, you're not going to care because you're dead. Like, yeah. And when I'm dead, I'm not going to care. But that's really what it is you have to remember success and failure are endpoints. They are snapshots. They are moments. They aren't a status you acquire. And just because you are a failure now doesn't mean that you'll be a failure later. And that maybe you will be a success later, then a failure, and then a success, and then maybe just somewhere in the middle. But yeah, those are endpoints, and don't ever forget that. So if at any point you're ever sitting there thinking to yourself that my work is a failure, that I am a failure, that this is a failure, maybe it is, but it's only temporary, and it's only because you're just looking at that moment instead of the grand picture. Maybe you are an awful, awful lawyer, but you are amazing at business. And so, yeah, don't give up. Figure out where your skills and your talents can be applied. This is sort of rambling off into another direction about life, but the main point to this is don't give up on your art. More shell came off. I'm gonna get more of this off. Sorry, think about what I can do with this. I lost track. Got it. Okay. To summarize this whole random video of encouragement, you're not a failure. Failure is a finality, and you shouldn't let it get down. And as long as you can take a bit of knowledge, if you can gain something, if you improve your skills at all, if there is any kind of positive growth that can come from it, no matter how small, no matter how buried in the minutia of whatever, if you can look at it and be like, you know what, that was a beautiful proof of concept. It makes me happy. I've learned from this. I learned from this. I took what I thought was a failure and I applied it in another way and got a success. I'm probably going to do that with this one as well. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I think snowflakes maybe. I don't know. I might cover over this. Or cover this with how or what I'm going to do. I don't know. We'll see. Future possible video. Anyway. Just a bit of encouragement on today. I know today is Valentine's Day when I'm recording this. I wanted to look good. I don't have anybody, but I got myself, and I wanted to make myself happy. Don't give up, guys. Keep trying. Have fun with your art. Never forget that it's all just a step in making something better. And I hope you all continue to do your own art. If there's anything you've ever wanted to try, do it. Do it right now. I'm telling you to do it. If you have any doubts, do it. Because I think it's important to try things. I think it's important to express yourself. And sometimes people have a hard time expressing themselves. Poetry. You want to write poetry? Write poetry. Do it. I don't care. I don't care if you go to Rhyme Zone and just like find a bunch of terrible rhymes. Do it. You'll get better. The more you do something, the better you get at it. These are skills you can acquire. And I'd love for everybody to acquire skills. And I'd love to hear what people do. If you want to let me know in the comments. I'll happily read and reply. You got a link to show me something? Show me. I want to see it. But yeah, hope you guys have an absolutely great day. Thank you very much for listening to me ramble on. I know there was no real art done in this, but I will put out a video doing something a little artistic shortly. Yeah, I just want everybody to do great. Take care, guys.